It's like three different pages.
I'm getting older.
The one that they had.
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry, that's.
This, look.
Oh, is that? No, those are just sticky notes that were on the berry. It's the
Oh, was that color? I thought.
No, I think it's like you just woke up.
It's just roll out of here.
I need to buy that.
Okay, I thought it was green. I thought, oh, it's right, but no. Okay, it's the beige.
It's the beige, is the black.
Okay. I should have gone in. So, they're color.
He just needs something.
Right.
I'll love to know an update on what they're doing. Kind of committee.
Yeah, kind of.
It's not really. I don't know. No, no. For the treasurer for the newsletter, they send it.
I live in wrong side of town.
They said they sent it. I think they did. Yes, they did.
They come to my house.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't need to like.
It's like a response. It's hers, yeah. That's right. It's a little chilly, yeah.
That I just, and this is the reason why.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning.
Oh, look, he got it for you. Yes.
Yeah, oh, you were so.
What a cute sheep. Okay.
I was just curious.
Oh, hey, you.
I don't have one.
Man, what a kid. Well, you never know. I was thinking maybe you got lucky. No. Sorry. In some ways, yes, but not that, Hi, Barry.
Hi, good morning. I know one. Really?
I had myself.
And so
I thought she was one of those. I'm fine.
Hello. Testing. Hello.
Oh. Turn up. There.
Let's see.
You're all live. Thank you, sir.
Turn up.
You were warned. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
John, you're kind of by yourself this morning.
One more night, right?
Oh, not with her, no, not with us. No. She has one real job, but we're going to have it. And she came to me. Isn't that It's for both of us. No, absolutely not. Yeah. She just pulled this off. This. That's a no. No. Oh, yeah. We always say that's a no. And I said, you want no, he wouldn't say that, wouldn't you like, oh, wait, that's exactly. So we're going to have to discuss that. Okay, there you go. Appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah.
We had a ticket and then all of a sudden, I didn't have a ticket, and all of a sudden they opened up the big thing. And we went. Yeah, well, our brother, his older brother. Merriweather up there.
It says that the newsletter went out.
Yes, one of them did.
Where, when, I did not get one.
You did?
No, I did not. This one. I looked at that, like.
Yeah, that's been. I saw it after we voted last week.
You might wanna. Not that you're hiding anything from me, but it'd be nice to
I know. I didn't get one either.
But I was just kind of like. Mary, did you get yours? Debbie? Oh, yes, you can.
I left Mama with Darlene that she needs to try.
Well, happy birthday.
You're blocking the floor. There's missing.
The meeting will come to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence for all of those who gave their lives for this country.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call. Sorry.
Good morning. Susan Muniac,
Here.
Ed Wainer,
Here.
Lemaine Knifer. Here. Brenda Owens, Barry Burgess.
Here.
Jennifer Smiley.
Here.
Beverly Hasty.
Here. John, did we have a proof of notice?
Yes, Beverly, as per your documents and Florida statute, notice has been posted.
Thank you. Disposition of prior meeting minutes. Sue?
I'll move that we accept the minutes with 2 modifications. One being Jennifer's spelling of her name as to who's present, and the other under pool furniture replacement. Under pool furniture replacement, it was Lemaine Knifert and Jennifer Smiley volunteered to take inventory of the current furniture.
Okay, all in favor?
Need a second?
Oh, a second, that's right.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carried. And then the special closed meeting of the board.
Pick one.
I move that we accept the minutes as stated.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay, treasurer's report?
Okay. We had income of $86,868.68 and expenses of $90,513.04. And for that is the current year-to-date income was $935,272 and expenses $868,096.16 for a year-to-date gain of $67,175.84. In the operating accounts, we have a total of $309,209.91. And in the Driftwood account, there's $42,667.70. And in our cash reserves, there's a total of $838,493.73. Delinquencies and fines, they're $16,765.16 are current delinquencies, which mean they have not been at the attorney yet, or fines. And the delinquency or fines that are at the attorney are $37,889.64 for a total of all accounts of $54,654.80. And that's it.
Thank you, Sue. Debbie, Brenda is trying to call in.
She texted me.
Sorry for the delay. We have a board member who's away and we're trying to get her on the phone.
Good morning. Brenda?
Yeah.
Okay, good morning. Can you hear us? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear?
Yeah.
I'm gonna mute my phone now.
Okay, thank you.
Well, do I need to do roll call first?
Brenda, we already did that. We're up to the manager's report.
Okay,
Debbie's gonna check you in, so you should be okay.
okay, thanks.
Okay, John, manager's report?
Okay, so as for the clubhouse landscaping, the design was approved. We've reached out to numerous landscapers and we're hopeful within the next 2 weeks to have at least 3 proposals for the board to review. With our second June meeting canceled, the board may entertain an idea to have a special meeting just to review those proposals when they come in. The pool deck lighting was completed. The renewal of the certification for After Dark Swimming did not pass, so we, later on the agenda, we do have a proposal to correct that problem. The pool decking has been completed and the resurfacing and the coping is scheduled for January of 2022. Maintenance staff is doing the normal maintenance staff things. We did, as per our last board meeting, we did replace expansion joints in the test area at the corner of the clubhouse. If the board members want to review that, see if that's something we might want to order down the road. I have no update on the septic approval for the maintenance building at this time. The door has been completed. They did a fantastic job on the door for that's going into the live oak storage. The signs, I believe, Mark, all the signs have been installed now? Yeah, thank you. And the only thing that's probably not going to end the report is we've started painting the card room and we're nearly done with that. That's all I have.
Thank you, John. Any questions? Lynette?
As far as researching to activate the plumbing in the maintenance building, you said an engineer to get separate septic approval. Is that costing us money at this point?
It is, yes.
All right, maybe we need to look at that because I don't think anyone is really, I know most of the residents are not in favor of putting a bathroom out there. So if we're already spending money to try and do that, maybe we need to look at that a little further.
Okay, it's not on the agenda for this month, so we'll have to.
Okay, but if it's in the manager's report, we don't get to question it or we can't discuss it?
We can question it. I don't know what the rules are for that, to be honest with you, LeMay.
Okay, maybe we need to hold off on that until we are able to look at it.
Okay, we can bring up something that is not on the agenda to discuss.
Okay.
If we bring it up though, and do any sort of vote, it is not necessarily open to public comment because public comment by state law is items on the agenda.
All right, well, I think we need to discuss it.
Okay. We can discuss it.
Did we not? Engineering course.
Can't hear you, Joe. We can't hear you.
Sorry, memory's not great. I believe at one point we did approve engineering costs to pursue this, but the treasurer would probably know more, so.
We did approve engineering costs quite a while ago, and it's still a matter of there's more than it does not necessarily tie into moving the wood shop. The whole idea is for getting plumbing, to reactivating the plumbing that is already there.
I understand that, but the question when we were moving the wood shop was, would there be plumbing issues or bathrooms put out there? And the answer was no, we are not looking at that because of the cost. Now, I understand there was a bathroom out there, but that has not been used in I don't know how many years. I know it was not used at all in the time that I've been here. So I can't imagine that the fixtures and everything else that are in there can be reused. I see in the future, the next thing we'll be doing is replacing all those fixtures and everything in there, as well as all the plumbing issues.
A question, John, do you know the condition of the fixtures and all in there and when it was last used?
So I believe the county capped the sewer approximately 3 years ago. So up until that time, the maintenance guys were using the facilities. The facilities in the building are fully functional. It's just a matter of getting septic approval and doing whatever the county is requiring for us to get that septic approval, whatever hurdles they make us jump to get to that point. To put the brakes on it now probably wouldn't be prudent because we're very close to the end to getting approval. Now, whether the board wants to do whatever is necessary is another question, but we're near the end of this process, very close to the end.
So do you have any idea what we have already spent for examination of putting this down here or the approval for it?
Off the top of my head, if I had to guess, I would say somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000.
All right, I don't know where to go with this.
Does that include the engineering costs?
That's all we've spent is engineering costs.
Which we approved before. The engineering costs, so.
Yeah, the goal has, it's always been on my list since I started, is I have a strong feeling that the maintenance guys should have a home base, which is the maintenance shop. To have a home base, they need plumbing facilities.
No.
We all have a job, we all have plumbing facilities, we're all permitted to go to the restroom. I don't see the maintenance guys as any lesser of a human being. They should have plumbing facilities.
They do, right here.
That actually is my answer. There are plumbing facilities here. That was the whole answer to everything at that point. So, all right, we will, I guess we will have to table this and put it on next month's agenda.
Okay. Karen, we don't have anything on the agenda about the budget.
So I can't question the budget?
It's
only question things that are
on the
on the agenda.
For state law.
Your budget's on the agenda, is it not? It's under treasurer's report. So if it's a bit part of the business meeting, I should be able to question the budget.
That was the treasurer's report.
Okay.
You have a question on the treasurer's report?
Yes, I'd like to
Okay,
know.
that you can do. Go ahead.
I'd like Karen Luciola, Casarina Drive, I'd like to know what line you're subtracting money out of for the future use of a bathroom when we have a bathroom up here. What line do you take money out of?
The money to pay the.
No, just tell me what line.
Excuse me.
Story.
Excuse me, the money that we pay to the engineer comes out of professional services, and you will not see.
That's not the question.
That is the answer.
So
You asked me where the money for the engineer who is doing the work for this.
that's not the question. Where is all the money coming from that you're taking out of our budget for that shed, the bathrooms, everything? What line on your budget?
What category do you want? If you want professional services, which is what the engineer is for anything in Timborough, comes out of one
Okay, how
line.
about the $4,000 door? Where'd that come out of?
That came out of permanent improvements, and I don't remember which one, I think it was
So
under,
if you put a sewer in, is that permanent improvement?
if we put a sewer in, it's all according to what it would come out of the appropriate category for any, if it's a permanent improvement, which the sewer would be, it would probably come out of the permanent improvement. Which one of the 100 categories we have, I can't tell you off the top of my head.
Why all of a sudden are these bathrooms not good enough for our employees? Why do we have to have separate bathrooms?
That's not a budget question, and it's not on the treasurer's report.
If you're spending money, it's a budget question.
Thank you, Karen.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody would like you to sit down. Yes, you come here to speak up, they don't like that. It's not with you.
We don't need any comments from the
And
audience.
tell that to the person that yelled sit down to Karen while she was up there speaking, because it's rude and I'm sick of it.
Oh, come on, ladies. We don't make it a circus.
Yeah, let's try to,
This is a business meeting.
we're not taking any more questions from the residents, I'm sorry, and on this day.
Well, if it comes on the manager's report, shouldn't it be discussed under manager's report?
What is it you want to discuss?
No, I don't want to discuss on just a point.
We did discuss it. We discussed it.
It could be brought up under the manager's report, am I correct?
Right,
Okay,
we did.
thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, moving right along. Art Committee, Russell Rogers. Please quiet in the audience.
Good morning, Russell Rogers, 8224 Laura Del Rio Drive. We met Wednesday. We had 17 acts. We had disapproved 3, but in the meantime, the ladies, one of them disapproved, had called in the correct information, so that are now approved. So that is number 339. Tom, the third one on the list. That's now approved. So now we have 2 unapproved and 15 to be approved. One disapproval is there's nothing in our guidelines to cover as a building. And the other was no measurements on what they want to do. And I called them and got no answer.
Question, the one that was approved is the one on Los Santos?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we approve the 15 ARCs recommended by the committee for approval.
I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. Now, what about the 2 that the board, that the art committee denied? Jen? I'll move that we approve that we disapprove the garden backyard application due to lack of information that needs to be a lot more defined. Let's do them separately. Yep, let's do them separately. Okay, do we have a second on that?
I second that.
Okay. All in favor to disapprove of the garden backyard thing? Yeah. Aye. Opposed? Okay, so that one stands disapproved. Now, so
I make a motion that we approve the tree library box that is requested on Island Pine Drive. It's a box that will go over a tree stump where they will put in books for kids, children's books, so that they can come and exchange them or whatever for the kids in the family village. This is in Driftwood. And there is a stump already in the yard, and it'll be taken care of by the person in the yard. Whose yard it is.
all in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? That one has been approved. They can do their library.
We had no guidance.
Right, I understand. We understand.
Take one of the case by case.
Okay, committee reports. Before we, get started with that, you can start coming up, Jerry, you'll be first. We have to, approve Jerry as vice president of Live Oaks.
Well, and also approved to have him put on the Live Oaks account.
Right. So do we have a motion to that effect? Okay, I'll second it. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Welcome, Jerry. You are now the new vice president of Live Oaks. Official.
Okay. I'm here doing two things. I'm Elizabeth right now, and so, but my real name is Jerry Beers, and my account number is 3326. I'm doing a fine and suspension, just to let you know that we have meeting set up on 6/8, one for 10 o'clock, one for 10:15, and one for 10:30 for the three that you sent to the committee. So we'll be doing those on 6/8.
Okay, thank you.
And now I'm Connie, so I have to be taller. So, reading what Connie put down, please welcome Jerry Beers, that's me, approved as Live Oaks Club Vice President for the remainder of the term due to Maryland reservation. Okay, the next thing she has on there is I would like to request the kitchen to be open, I guess, once it gets fixed. Because we have a cookout planned on June 22nd, and we'll need a fridge and freezer and countertop and sink to use for some prep and cleanup. So, and the other is Tosca plan on having a holiday open house scheduled for December 5th, 2021. If so, I need to obtain a caterer. And Tuesday night's parking lot party will continue as long as we can find entertainment needed and a good turnout continue. Dances and bingos are scheduled for the summer month. As of now, more activities may be added as we move forward. Thank you for your support of Live Oaks Club. Respectfully submitted, Connie on.
Thank you, Jerry.
No,
So now we have to back up to
the kitchen.
the kitchen. Jennifer? I'd like to move that we open the kitchen.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Thank you. John?
Madam President, can I ask a question?
Sure, Brenda, go ahead.
Who is the person responsible for cleaning the kitchen? How is that done?
Can you say it again,
She asked
Brendan?
about the kitchen refrigerator being cleaned and stuff.
Oh, who's responsible for cleaning it? Is that
Yes.
the Live
Or how
Oaks?
is the kitchen maintained and cleaned?
She's just asking who's responsible for maintaining the refrigerator and all that.
Live Oaks and the kitchen manager who is incapacitated at the time, at this time, the kitchen manager.
Don't we, yeah, where everyone cleans up after themselves when they use the kitchen, has it been sanitized or cleaned currently? Is it ready to be used? John?
So I know that it was cleaned out, all the expired items were removed and it was cleaned some time ago. I don't think anything in the last maybe 2 months has been done to the refrigerator.
Okay, but it was cleaned originally, so it shouldn't be dirty. I mean, no one has used it.
Okay.
On the other issue, Jerry, you said once it has been
What's closed I see, it says ice machine, and that's thing all taped off, so you can't go in there.
Because we've had it closed during
Right.
COVID. Once we vote to open it, then that will be removed. Yes,
No,
John?
there is more. To answer Jerry's question, the ice machine's currently out of order, Jerry. We're hoping
Yeah.
that it gets repaired today.
Okay. Okay, are we ready to vote on opening the kitchen? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, the kitchen will be open.
Thank you very much.
I think we also have to find someone else to be in charge of it, and I think we have other people that are qualified, have taken the courses, because I don't think we're going to have Diane Hovig back for it. Okay, so we will get a hold of Diane Hovig and ask for her to resign, and then hopefully find someone else who's qualified to take over.
Right. And isn't that usually done through Live Oaks?
The manager is through Taxa.
Yep, I know we do but I thought that it was Live Oaks who usually suggests to us who's,
Right, we'll get in touch with Connie and, yes, I'll take care of that. Yeah, yes, Barry.
I just had a question. I just had a question on the fines and suspensions. Has that carport at Driftwood reached fines and suspensions yet? The carport in Driftwood, we voted to move forward with that. Has that came up for fines and suspensions yet?
No, I don't think so.
Because that was just at the last meeting. Yes, yes, so it takes a 45-day process.
He asked if a certain issue had been sent to the finding committee, but has not reached its timely manner yet. So, sorry.
Chris, did you have a question?
No, I have finance report.
Oh, okay. We're still working on the Live Oaks thing for a minute. Okay, what do we want to do about the open house? I would think by December that we could.
I would think we should be able to. My concern is if we get a caterer and then if we can't, we almost have to put that in contract with the caterer.
Right.
That would be my only concern. Right, an out clause.
in case of.
Jerry, can you relay that to Connie?
Yes, I will.
Okay. That we'll go ahead with it? Right, right. Well, we have plenty of time, right, but the caterers do book up early. Okay, I guess that's all with the Live Oaks. Now we can move on to Chris. Oh, Debbie?
Did we need to make a motion about the bank?
Did we do that when we said Jerry is vice, and did we put him on the, okay, then I make a motion that we put, Jerry, your legal name's Gerald, right?
Yes, G, with a G.
With a G. Make a motion that we allow Gerald Beers to be on the Live Oaks bank account with Bank of America.
I'll second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Don't spend it all, Chair.
Motion carried.
I got my mortgage coming up.
Let's remove Marilyn.
Okay, Chris, Finance Committee.
Hold on a second, what?
Oh,
We also need a motion then to remove Marilyn Ham
Oh,
off the
we need-
records.
okay, thank you.
Okay,
I'm glad you're on top of this, Debbie.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jen.
I move that we remove Marilyn Hare's name from the Live Oaks checking account.
second through, but,
Okay.
through Bank of America.
I'm sorry, through Bank of America.
Second,
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay, Debbie, have we done everything we should on that? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Finance Committee.
Christopher Husky for finance. I won't read all of this, but the bills were reviewed, noted, no clubhouse water bill due to a credit on the account. It was also noted tax bills were not paid in full by RPM in November, thus the bills came overdue. Tax bills have been requested to be sent to Timber Oaks directly. Susan is checking into RPM, paying all the late fees. Thank you.
Any questions for Chris? Excuse me. No? Okay, thank you, Chris. Unfinished business. Pool deck lights. John, you want to explain that? Please.
So we had the lights installed, that was a board-approved contract, that was bid to several contractors. The charges were just over $7,000, I believe just under $7,050. The renewal for the certification for After Dark Swimming did not pass, so to obtain that, now there's another proposal in the amount of $4,780.
Okay, Sue.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the $4,780.69 plus any tax that needs to be paid. I don't remember if we pay tax or not on it. And it would be expensed from the pool reserve. And then I'll have another motion after that.
Do you have a second?
Point of order. Can we discuss this before we make?
Yeah, we have to have a motion on the board. We're gonna have a motion and second it, then we can discuss it. We're not gonna vote on the motion till after the discussion.
I will second it.
Okay, now you can discuss it.
Okay, my question to John is, why didn't they, before they installed the lights that we have, why didn't they find out how many lumens or whatever it is that they measure the light by to know that those would be enough or wouldn't be enough to pass the inspection? Seems like we've done this kind of haphazardly, and that we put lights in and now they don't pass, so now we gotta add more lights. Isn't there a process where they know how much a light puts out and how much it covers?
There is a process. We anticipated this proposal. We anticipated to be in this exact same position. Starting out of the gate, we did not want to install more lighting than was absolutely necessary. As a matter of fact, we were as close as we could to passing as we possibly could be. Mark met the certification contractor on site, and he initially passed us. So we were that close to passing. As it turns out, we did not pass, and as I said, we're where we thought we were going to be.
LeMay.
I was out before the inspection when the lights were put up, and I could see myself so many areas that were not covered by lights. So now we already spent, what, $7,800, I think, on this, and now we're gonna spend almost another $5,000. I think that, I'm sorry, but I think someone should have thought a little bit further than this, and it would have been a lot cheaper at that point to add a light post here and there, rather than now to come back and have $5,000 needed just to pass the inspection. This should have been looked at. The gentleman who put the lights in had to have known this. I mean, you could go out any time that it was dark and see all the areas that were dark. And if this had been put in, excuse me, before we put all the pavers down, I'm sure it would have been a lot less money. And is this the same contractor that did the original lighting?
It is, and as I stated, this is what we expected. It was thoroughly thought out. This is what we expected. We did not want overkill in the beginning. We were hoping to slide by with the least amount of lighting required.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but to me, that's really poor planning when you know this was, you knew that you were going to slide by, so now it costs us $5,000 more.
So the total cost that we're going to end up paying if this is approved is still less than the second and third bidder just for materials, regardless of labor. So we're still spending less than the competition was going to charge us.
And we do have an alternative. We can close the pool a half hour after dusk and open it a half hour before.
Well, I think we all know that's really not an alternative. That would never.
Well, I know it would never fly.
Right.
Because, but those are our choices.
I'm just saying, I think planning should have been better than that.
But it's been done already, so there's,
Is there,
shoulda, woulda, coulda, you know?
is there also a way that we can add lights without having to tear up the deck and, like add more lights to the ones that we've got? Put like 2 heads on a pole instead of 1?
Those are options. The engineer for the lighting supplier has guaranteed that the 3 new fixtures would pass certification. There's no guarantee for option B or C.
Eileen, you have,
Eileen Dunn, Mira Vista Drive. John, we spent a fortune and we failed twice before with this guy. When we were on the board, yeah, we did.
We failed twice, but it wasn't
And
this
we
company.
put an extra light on top of the lights. I don't know why they couldn't do that again, what Ed was referring to. They had done that before and put some other lights up, like little LED lights. They were little square lights they stuck on top of the poles. I don't think it cost us any $4,000 to do that. But I mean, this company had failed before. These guys are pretty strict about their requirements. I mean, this guy should have known this, just so you know in the future.
I don't think that was the company we used before.
And he said it was.
The engineering company that checked the lights after is the same company, but the lighting was not put up by the same
I
company.
thought that that's what he said.
Eileen, we asked whether I asked whether the company doing the next ones were the same. That is the same as the company that put in these lights.
Okay, because the company before would have known. And we did not pass at least twice prior to this, before you were the manager. We had issues out there.
Okay, thank you,
Okay,
Eileen.
thank you.
Rob?
Rob Sibneski, 10539 Farnham Court. Is there a performance guarantee that we issue to our contractors that they are to meet codes and regulations? Or is this part of our contract?
John, can you answer that question?
Well, I guess the one good answer is one contractor that I had talked to that gave me a verbal that would do the installation and the certification so that the two will simultaneous and guaranteed. I believe their quote, verbal quote, just for materials was $16,000. So as I said, we expected to be, it's not poor planning, we expected to be in this position. We were hoping that we would not be, but we expected this. As Eileen said, the previous time, 8 or 10 years ago, whenever the previous lighting was installed, it failed as well. We knew where the problem areas were. We knew where the dark areas were. We were hoping because we were putting up taller lights that we might be able to pass without the additional side directional lighting.
And one more thing, if we don't have in our contract, or our contractors don't say in their specifications that they're giving us, that performance to codes is going to be accepted, or they will meet performance to codes. Why don't we start doing this? I know we accept a lot of contracts from outside contractors. We do not issue purchase orders, which give us a little bit of protection. And I just think that this contractor should be somewhat held accountable for, he had to have known how many lumen output each light had, and he had to know the square footage. Designing outside lighting is not rocket science. And I don't want to bring up my experiences, but I will. As a very young engineer, I did this. It is very easy to do, whether it's inside lighting or outside lighting. If you know the lumen output of the lights, the only hard part you have to do after that is just make sure the direction of the lights are in the right direction. And it's not rocket science. Any contractor who is worth his salt should be able to do this. And I think we should somewhat hold, John, I think you should hold the contractor somewhat accountable to this.
Thank you for your input, Rob. Dale?
Dale Thompson to Cheetah Drive. I agree with everything Rob just said, except for one thing. The contractor came here, and I do not know whether he said, are you open after dark or just during the day? If he was assuming that we only needed lights for during, when it just, maybe on a cloudy day or whatever the case may be. They should have been told that we need proper lighting for after dark. However, and John can correct me if I'm wrong, what I just heard was that if they did say that, and John keeps saying we, I don't know who we are, but we were trying to slide under the rug. Basically, am I correct? Did you not just say that you were hoping, I mean, you're saying you knew all along that this was or could happen, but you were hoping we could have slid under the rug with the amount of lights they put out there and get away with it. But we couldn't, so now we're back to square one. We need more lights. Am I correct, John?
He doesn't have to.
Oh, the cat got his tongue.
Thank you, Dale. Sure, LeMay.
I think if we had known this going into the original bid, there would have been some changes made. So if this was expected or thought that possibly this could happen, I think we should have been informed of that before the vote for the original lighting was put up here. If we had known this and expected it, I think there would have been a different outcome. But we're paying, we vote for lighting to be put in thinking, okay, that's what we're paying. And then we come up with another $5,000. That's where my problem is.
I'd like to say that we did know. When we first approved the lighting, we knew there was a possibility that we would not pass the test. We thought we would, the contractor thought it would, but we did know that. And the difference between the two contracts, well, three, I think we had three. One was even higher than the 16,000 and all that. But we thought with the new lights, with the higher, that we would be able to do it. But we did know that.
Was it brought up at a board meeting? Was it ever put out before?
I don't remember, but we did know that, talking about, I don't remember whether it was or was not, but the cost difference was put out. We did have copies of the stuff. Jerry?
So let me ask then, when they submitted their proposals, did they say, okay, we need 8 light posts and so many lumen lights on top to do this job? Or were they specific about what they were providing? Because if you have 3 different proposals and they're 3 different prices, are the proposals for the same amount of work?
They were to light the thing, to try. We knew that when we took this contractor, that it might not pass. They said it might not, that we might have to add lights after, or do something to get the other lights. There was one that said that they would guarantee that it would. And there was one that said that, and I don't remember if I'm confusing the two or not. There was one that said, well, that we could even get it with less lights if we put them up higher. I think they were gonna light the whole thing with 3 lights, but I think that was the most expensive one. I'm not sure if I remember that one correctly. But
the thing is, now we have to tear up the work that was done to put in more light poles. And when we just did all that work, and now we're having to redo it because we don't have enough light posts in place to cover the job.
I realize that. I mean, but I'm just.
The pool is gonna be closed again while they do that.
They've said for one day that it would be, we'll have, neighbors have to come up, the wire run, the posts put in.
Can I please have quiet in the audience? Thank you.
Go ahead, Jerry, your turn.
Jerry Beers, 3326 Monterey. So I take offense to when you say we. We is who? Because when I was on the board, we, meaning me, because you want to refer to what you knew as we. I didn't know nothing about adding lights maybe later on and everything else. Because I would have never voted knowing that the job was half-assed and that we wasn't sure that we would have added money to it. So when you say we, say Sue, because maybe you had your little secret meeting or something going on, because we is not Jerry Beers, all right? We, when you speak we, speak Sue. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Yellow Singer 14116. I too agree with Jerry. I was never, when lights were brought up, I was never given any information that there was a possibility that what was voted on would fail. I never would have voted it either. So again, I wasn't involved in that private meeting where that information was given.
There was no private meeting. John?
So a copy of the original proposal, the contract that was approved by the board at that time is available for anyone to view. On that proposal, it's very simple, like the one in front of you now. Nowhere on it does it guarantee an after dark certification. That's what the board reviewed. That's what the board approved. If any of the board members at that time had any questions, they had an opportunity to ask those questions. Apparently, some of the board members did and some of the board members did not. As it is today, for future reference, if there are questions about materials on the agenda, items on the agenda, if information is needed, please don't wait to the meeting. Ask those questions before the meeting. Come to the meeting informed. Please.
I would think that when a proposal is put out for lights for the pool, that everything is taken care of in that proposal. If it is not, or if there is a question that it will not pass an inspection, that needs to be brought up. All information. Yes, I'm looking at this and thinking, okay, this is going to pass. Only because that problem has been brought up. If I look at a main thing, I am assuming that you have looked into everything and this is our proposal and this is the final proposal on lights. You knew there were inspections for night swimming. It should have been covered originally.
And this proposal here, this additional, doesn't guarantee anything either. This doesn't guarantee that it's gonna pass. So if we accept this, we still have no guarantees.
John?
I'm sure we all remember that when we approved the certification contract of, I believe, $950, we also approved additional follow-up visits because there was an expectation to fail the certification.
Thank you.
This board.
Here on Casuarina Drive, I'd like to say, first of all, thank you for your volunteerism. You guys are volunteers. This gentleman works and gets paid to do the contracts, to make sure everything's lined up. I think all of you need to know, we need to reconsider our contract with this particular company. If we're getting zapped and zapped and zapped repetitively after we go under contract, that gentleman that mentioned that, the assurance of a job being done properly, why haven't we been doing that? I mean, we are not made of money, so we need to be more frugal. And it's really not your jobs to figure out the contracts, it's your job. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Okay, Rob, you already spoke on this topic.
I know.
I'm sorry. Okay, did you have something, Darren?
I'm trying to find.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but I just have to say this. For 15 years, I worked with construction, building schools. And we had a specification that we put out to do something. And the contractor was only obligated to do what the specification required. If you asked them to do something that was not on the specification, they told you to go suck wind. It had to be in writing, it had to be specific, and they had to know what they were bidding on. If you do a specification, then all three contractors are going to be bidding on the exact same thing. You're not going to have one bidding on one thing, one bidding on two others. So it sounds to me like it's all water under the bridge now. We either want a certification or we don't, so we got to vote on this. But in the future, maybe we need to be clearer on specifications and what we want done, so that you're not pointing fingers at the contractor saying he did not do his job. I assure you, I know this guy, he did exactly what he was told to do. So this is all water under the bridge right now. We have to decide whether we want this or we don't want this. But in the future, maybe we need to be clearer on what we're asking for.
Okay. All right, we're going to take a vote. Would you, oops, I'm sorry, Brenda, go ahead.
May I make a comment? Madam President, may I make a comment?
Yes, go ahead.
I appreciate all the comments and input on this. However, we need to fix the issue, and we need to have a guarantee that the next thing that we do, the next thing that we pay for, fixes the issue. My comment.
Thanks, Brenda. Debbie, would you read the motion again, please?
The motion is to approve Floyd Laurie Electric to install additional lighting for pool area and to allocate the funds from the pool reserves in the amount of $4,780 plus tax.
Okay, let's vote. Let's take a,
Can I hear the vote again? Or can I hear the motion again, please?
Can we get a guarantee on this one? That this will pass?
Jen.
Can I hear the motion that we're voting on, please?
To approve Floyd Laurie Electric to install additional lighting for pool area and to allocate the funds from the pool reserves in the amount of $4,780 plus tax.
Jen, go ahead.
Madam President, I want to go on record saying I'm not going to vote for it unless it's guaranteed it will come. I think we're just throwing money after bad if we don't have a guarantee.
That question has been asked, Brenda. We're waiting for a reply from John.
We can ask for it to be added to the proposal. The current motion on the floor isn't calling for that, though.
Who made the motion? Sue, can you amend the motion?
I'll amend the motion.
Sorry.
I'll amend the motion to include with the guarantee that we will pass inspection once the new lighting is installed.
You must have.
Second it.
Okay. Read us back when you're ready, Debbie.
Okay. It's been moved to approve Floyd Lloyd Electric to install additional lighting for the pool area and to allocate the funds from the pool reserves in the amount of $4,780 plus tax, with a guarantee from the company that it will pass the inspection.
Okay, can we have a roll call for the vote, please?
Yes.
Okay, wait a minute, Jennifer wants to say one thing.
If everybody will, board members, reference their email from John on May 27th. This would now guarantee certification for after dark swimming in his email. They took it to the engineer of the manufacturer of the lighting. Floyd Lowry wanted to do a different way, and they said, no, this would guarantee that the lighting would be done properly and we wouldn't have to keep readdressing the issue. Am I not correct?
That's verbal.
It's verbal.
That's
Okay.
verbal. If I'm the contractor, if I'm Floyd Lowry Electric, I will not put that in writing because I'm not the certification company.
I thought that when they took it to the engineers, they said that this would.
The lighting supplier has an engineering department. The lighting supplier is not the installer and they're not the certification company.
Okay,
But that's their guarantee, their verbal guarantee.
thank you.
Are we ready to vote, or are there any more questions from the board?
I was just wondering, is that not Floyd Lowry?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's do a roll call vote, please. Oh, do you have something to say? No? Okay. Okay. Debbie, please. Thank you.
Susan Muniac,
Yes.
Ed Wayner,
Yes.
Lemaine Eifert,
Yes.
Brenda Owens,
Yes.
Jennifer Smiley,
Yes.
Beverly Hasty.
Yes. Motion carried. So, as I said, I have another part. I'd like to transfer, I'd like to move that we transfer $6,000 from the general fund, from the operating, to the pool reserve. Not that we did, to cover the lighting expense and the replacement, the taking up and putting down of the pavers. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. You want the reasons? Yes, now we can discuss it. We have money in the pool reserve, and there is enough money for the project and other things that happened. We're not spending the total, but because of increasing the amount of cost to the lighting, I wanted to put it into the reserves rather than spending it from the operating, so that we correctly account for where the money went when it was spent. Because when we move it to the reserve, then it will come out of the reserve. And when we do the budget next year, we will change the reserve, the cost of lighting to show the increased cost of the lighting. And that's, it's still money that we have, but what we do is we transfer it from the operating to the reserve. When we spend from the reserve, they transfer the money back from the reserve to the operating, so it comes out of one checking account, but it is properly recorded that it was a reserve expense.
Okay, so right now, there is not enough money in the reserve.
There is enough money in the reserve. We could pay, because that reserve covers everything from the pool. It covers the pavers, it covers.
So then why do we need to transfer if there is enough money in the reserve to cover the costs?
Because if there's something else that goes wrong with the pool, if we have to replace, God forbid, a heater or something like that, then we'd be moving it at that time. We have excess money in the, not excess,
That's a bad term. But we have adequate money. The carryover is still looking like it's the carryover, what we have, what we didn't spend. So I am just doing this so that we change the amounts in the reserve so that for next year. If we don't, we can spend it, and then if something else happens, we'd have to move the money there.
I think we should wait and move it when we need to. We don't need to now.
If it's, my fear is we move the money over, so next year we have to make up for the money that was moved over, and what it ends up is our HOA fees end up going up, which I don't think anyone wants to see. At this point, if there's still money in there, let's leave it the way it is. If something comes up that we have to move it, then move it. Let's not look ahead and say, well, in case.
The other thing is, though, no matter what, if we have to spend more money, if we've spent more than budgeted totally, when you go through the whole thing, if you spend more than budgeted, no matter whether you do it out of the reserve or whether you do it out of operating, it's still, that's what determines what's in it, how much your HOA fee is. It won't make a difference one way or the other where we spend the money from.
I understand that. What upsets me is that we were told this was already planned for. We have to replace the pavers. We need to do all this work. And now you're talking about eventually having to put more money in that account because we basically overspent, yet we were told this was all planned. How are we so low again? Why did we do this if we didn't have the money there to begin with?
We did have the money there. We do have the money. Want to do it if you want to not do it, don't have to. I just was doing it for what seemed physically right.
Do we have any more comments from the board? Excuse me, I have allergy problems today. Rob, you want to speak on that?
Beverly, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were going into this budget issue. I did want to have one last comment on the pool lighting.
Okay, would you step up to the?
This is triggered by the pool lighting project. I've had conversation with several people in the community, John Caju mainly, other people who are involved in construction work in the past. And I was going to present a proposal to the board sometime in October and November regarding a technical services group that would screen contracts for construction projects. And I realize the board has the opportunity to do that. We would forward our advice to the board. We would review specifications. Barry, following on what you had said, we review specifications as well as performance data as far as specifics on pumps, electric, whatnot.
Okay, let me stop you right there.
Okay.
Do that as you're planning to make your proposal in October.
I'm just trying to plant the seed because it's an appropriate time to do it. And I'm sorry to waste the board's time, but this is also going to take the target off of our manager's back, which he has a pretty good sized bullseye on his back right now. And all I'm saying is John's job is to manage the property.
Correct.
And he has maintenance staff to do it and whatnot. When we pile on projects without, I don't think, there's no real scheduled time. We don't try to, they just get piled on. And I think this would help him as far as taking that project, that target off of his back.
Okay, we'll take it under advisement. Thank you. Okay, we have a motion on the floor to transfer. You want to read that motion, Doug?
move to transfer $6,000 from the operating account to the pool reserve account for the additional costs regarding the pool lighting project.
Okay, can we take a vote on that? Probably should do a roll call.
Okay, I have Susan Muniac,
Yes. Yes.
Ed Weiner,
No.
Lemay Nyford,
No.
Brenda Owens,
No.
Jennifer Smiley,
Yes.
Beverly Hasty.
No.
Motion failed.
Okay, moving right along to the board vacancy. We have I'm sorry. Okay. We have so
I'll nominate. You just did open it for nominations.
but we still have, this was tabled from last time.
But the nominations don't carry over unless you.
Let me ask you this, Lemay, did you have a chance to go over, because that was your question last time, to go over the two that we have, that we're trying to accept one of the two people that originally ran for the board.
I think Brenda had more of a question, wanted to look at.
Oh, okay,
both
well,
of
Brenda, I'm
those.
sorry, she was sitting here. Okay, Brenda, did you have a chance to check that out?
Yes. I think I answered the question. I couldn't quite hear what was asked, but I believe you wanted to know if I have reviewed the resume, and yes, I have.
Okay. And do you have any questions or problems with that? Okay.
No. I mean, I have an opinion as to who I think would be the best person for the vacancy, but I'm not sure that that's appropriate for me to say.
Okay. Okay, do we want to vote on these two people, or do we want to take nominations and inspect or interview them, is the word I want to use?
If we're going with
I
the
think
two.
we need to renominate because it was tabled at the last meeting. So we would have to reopen for nominations.
Okay.
And if we want to nominate those same people, then we can at that time.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion for Sue?
I'll nominate Chris Dabrowski. Doesn't need a second.
Okay.
And I'm nominating Donna Moser for the board vacancy.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, we're going to vote. We have, it's going to be a written vote, and Debbie will.
Brenda, can you text John with your vote? Brenda?
Madam President, what is happening now? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Could you text John with your vote?
Are you doing a secret ballot or what?
Yes, it's secret ballot.
And you're asking me to
Text,
let John vote for me or text him my vote?
text him your vote.
Okay, yeah, I just got it.
Okay.
I'm driving, so it may take a moment.
Brenda, LeMay is texting you John's number.
Okay.
Ellen, you had a question?
Yes, I do. Ellen Baldwin, Springwood Drive, Oaks Club, 6097. I'm kind of confused. Why are we having to nominate? Wouldn't it, the vote automatically gone to the next person with the highest?
That's what we tried to do last meeting. However, there was some conflicts, so this is how we're going to do it. Thank you.
Beverly?
Yes.
I have a concern. If the board cannot vote by email, how can they vote by text?
Does Barry have to vote?
I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, both by email. I didn't see that.
That's quick.
So the scoring
It's
date.
fine.
You only.
Good question, John.
Madam President, I have tried to text my vote twice to the number that somebody sent me, and both times it says it is not me. And the number, please.
Send it.
Send it back on LeMay's. We're not verbalizing it, Ellie, sorry.
The secret vote. Electronic vote.
Yes, Sue.
As far as, no, we cannot vote by email because then we're not, but a person on the phone is considered in person. This is the way, she knows exactly what we're doing. You all know exactly what we're doing. You know that she knows that she can vote. If it was vote by email, we would be voting on things without it being in public. This is in public.
Okay, verbally, text you vote to LeMay's phone,
Messenger.
messenger.
Text, okay, she should be voted earlier.
Thank you.
We've never voted on this.
Yes, Brenda, it's been received. Thank you.
We know who may have it.
The results are in, they'll be written, given by the president.
Okay, excuse me, Donna Mosier, it has won the vote. and she's not here. I hope this isn't any indication.
Brenda's not here either.
What?
Brenda's not here.
She's here by phone. Brenda's here by phone, she's already on the board.
And I'm sure I will be too. If that's what she was working on. I don't think it's nice to say something like that. It's not right.
Moving right along. Correspondence. Oh, I'm sorry, new business. You're right, I missed over that. All right, deed restrictions, inspections. Review of procedures and possible addition of service. Do we have any, a motion here?
So I move that the board authorize RPM to do an additional day, additional half day. It's 4 hours, because that's what Linda, right now, the person does an additional 4 hours of deed restriction inspections and reviews.
We have a second? Okay, discussion?
So we keep hearing from the public and all this that we're not doing deed restrictions and that we're not being fair because not everybody gets it all. This way, we will be able to increase the amount of time that the deed restriction person can go around. It will also allow us to get a better handle on follow-up, because not only will she be able to, if she's here 2 days a week, 1 day would be to find deed restrictions, the next day would be to do the follow-up inspections of when she has done it. This will give us double the amount of coverage that we have now. And that's.
You're saying that right now she does 4 hours a week? Okay.
Any other board comments or questions about this?
Here on Luciola, Casuarina Drive.
Oh, wait a minute, Brenda has something to say, sorry. Go ahead, Brenda.
So has the person that does the inspection been consulted about their amount of time that they need?
We didn't quite hear that, Brenda.
She wanted to know if the driver.
Sorry, has the person that is doing the inspections and the re-inspections been consulted about the amount of time that they will need going forward?
She's basically asking if Linda needs more time, more hours, and have we discussed it with her to the amount of time she would need?
I don't believe that we have discussed it with her.
I think we've asked RPM what the cost would be, and we're requesting it. We've requested it before. We've thought of requesting it before, and it would be available to us. The question was put to RPM, and RPM said that yes, it would be available to us, and it's $20 an hour. So that would be $80 a week for, it's not.
$80 a week more.
Yes.
And they're currently paying you $80 a week.
I'm trying to remember. Is it separate on ours, or is that included with what we pay?
To be honest with you, I don't know off the top of my head.
It's either included in what we.
I had to guess, I would say it's included in the management fee.
Okay, go ahead, Karen.
Luciola, Casuarina Drive. I would like to propose that you people really think about this. Number one, when I received my letters that I violated, which in fact I did not, twice I got letters, I think somehow the board needs to go over how she manages her time. Somebody who is a time management person should go through with her, because if she's jumping from here to there after green cards, she's not getting through each community effectively, and there's no reason to let her go hodgepodge on more hours. I would suggest that you evaluate what she's doing and see how they're getting these letters out, because when you're sending out violations, when people have not done a violation, you're wasting energy of that woman, you're wasting paper and mailing, and Beverly, your name's at the bottom of it. I think I'd get my name off unless you're reading all those fines.
I'm reading them all.
Well, then, don't you know deed restrictions? Why did I get 2 when I did not break a rule?
At the time, I believed there was a broken rule.
So you thought 3 days before Easter, my Easter banner violated the decoration rule?
No, it wasn't before, it was the after.
No, I got it 3 days before. I got it actually the day before Good Friday, I got the letter. So that means she did it the week before. And you're allowed 4 weeks before Easter to have Easter decorations up.
Easter was in April, correct?
Correct.
And that would have been the other president, not myself. I didn't get voted in as president until the April.
Well, unfortunately, I think your name was on the bottom of it. I'll go back and look. I have it with me. But
Mine was, Karen.
yours was?
Yeah,
Your name was on the,
yeah.
did you read it?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So in any case, I feel that our whole procedure needs to be reevaluated by people who are time and money conscious.
Thank you, we'll take that under advisement. Dale.
Dale Thompson, Achita Drive. Karen said part of what I was going to say. There's no way that in 4 hours, Linda can cover all the green cards and then do the regular job of just driving around. The thing that I have to complain about is if we're getting a second person, first of all, we should ask Linda if she wants more hours. But first of all, she has to learn how to do the job to begin with, because you can't just ride down the road like I've seen her do plenty of times and right up, okay, so my tires are sticking out nice and bright. Okay, whether it was a green card or whether it was her. There's 3 bird baths. There's religious things all on my street. They've been there for a long time. So somebody's not doing something right. If the job is for her to ride around and look in each yard and see if there's deed restrictions being broken, then that's what she should be doing. I used to like her. Now she runs every time I go near her car. I think that somebody should sit down with her and go over what her job is, unless there's something going on like a lot of us think is going on, and she's being told where to go and who to single out, because when it comes to Karen and I, we would have enough proof to pretty much show that that's been happening. When there's other people breaking the law right on my own street, then, there's something wrong there. Why, I could keep going, but I'm on the other.
Thank you.
I have a question. How many hours prior to this was she supposed to be working? Did I hear 4?
Yeah, that's what she's contracted for.
I thought when we first signed up with the management company, the deed restriction, that was a big thing with signing up with this company. The deed restriction person was going to be for 8 hours. I'm wondering what happened there, that we only got to 4 hours. And then I know there were times that she wasn't even here, death in the family. We need some consistency and some accountability for when she's coming, when she's not coming. I don't know, John, has she been pretty consistent? Oh, he doesn't answer. I forgot. But I think there needs to be consistency
Okay.
and tracking when she's here, when she's not here. That we're getting our money. I mean, if she misses a week, that's missing a lot.
Okay, thank you for your input.
I'm not done.
Okay.
And yeah, I do think it's hit or miss, and that, you know, some streets she goes zooming by. I don't know if that's because it's the green card day and she's going to a certain address to look or what. But I think it is a good idea that somehow or other we have a better time management on how we approach how we're doing the job. I think it could be more efficient. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen.
Ellen Malilly, 1019. I'm very perplexed as to, John, do you ever ride along with the deed restriction? Does he ever ride along? At one time when we first started with this process, the manager did it, period. We went out and when we were on the board, we made a outline of what he should do every week. And then it became part of the process that you hired an employee to do that, because residents weren't allowed to do it anymore. So now you're saying that we actually, I think on the budget, we put out a lot of money for this woman, and she's only doing 4 hours as compared to 8 hours? Well, I mean, that is outrageous. It really is. And I think her salary a year is $16,000 or something, because we cover her for insurance and workman's comp and everything. So I agree with Eileen. I think this whole thing pertaining to her and what Dale said, I think you need to look in your contract to say what John is responsible for, whether he should go out with her or occasionally when she isn't the other 4 hours. But it certainly needs looking into to justify the money we put out for this woman that drives around 4 hours a week. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Lene.
I think currently to expect her to do deed restrictions at 4 hours a week in a community of our size is foolish. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's never going to happen. As far as what we pay her at $80 a week, 52 weeks, it comes out to $4,160. So there's no way we're even paying near the $16,000. I think whether 4 hours is put on for her to go back and inspect the ones that weren't, I think that can be combined. If she's in, let's say she's in Monterey and there are already letters that have gone out, she can combine them with what she's looking for. We can't expect her to do every community with 4 hours a week. But I think the bigger problem is looking at our deed restrictions and making sure she is only pulling up the ones. So maybe before letters go out, they need to be looked at a little harder to make sure what is going out is actually a deed restriction. And if you're going to cite one house, you need to cite them all.
Thank you. Jerry, you have a...
Yeah, Jerry Biggers, 3326 Monterey. The only thing I can say is why don't she just tell it, let's say, pick driveways. I'm gonna do every village, every driveway, and do nothing else but driveways, and obvious through the deed restriction. So everybody knows driveways are being done, and then when it's all done with the driveways, pick another item to do. And then everybody can say, all right, I got my letter, I'm not being picked on, because the person next door to me got their letter. But here it seems like certain people seem to get singled out on certain things, and she rides by certain things all the time, you know, and I know she has a lot to do. I mean, I feel sorry for the lady, but maybe if we put a warning out, you know, but we're gonna do driveways. That's all we're gonna concentrate, driveways and sidewalks. Then people gets heads up, runs out, cleans up, but at least everybody knows that when they got a letter, everybody else that didn't do it surely got letters too.
Thank you for your input. Okay, we have, oh, John.
So right now, the Driftwood Committee has a criteria, right? They're looking at specific things and only specific things, correct, Barry?
Correct.
So Linda, the individual that does our inspections, she needs that as well from the board. She needs to know what this current board, and this could change at every election, right? Because different board members consider different things to be more egregious of a violation than others. So every property manager, every person that does a property inspection needs to feel the pulse of the current board and know what the current board wants. So it would be very helpful if this current board would put together something that we could deliver to Linda and that the office staff and me as well could have, so that we know what this current board wants. And if the individual board members would stop impressing upon us what they want us to look at, and what the board as a whole would tell us what they want us to look at.
That's a good idea. So, but whether we do that or whatever, she needs more hour or someone with, and whether she just keeps going out and doing it and looking as she's going, for the others, or whether she plans it that she's going to do this and that, that's not the thing. The thing is, this would double the amount of hours. Okay, let's take a vote. John?
Just one more comment. So if it's approved, as Sue stated earlier, is probably the right approach. The original amount of time, the 4 hours that we have now, would be for initial violations. The second additional amount that would be approved would be for follow-ups.
Okay. How does that motion read, Debbie?
To approve additional hours for deed restriction, inspection, and follow-ups provided by Resource Property Management. You want to specifically say?
Yeah, so it doubles the.
To approve an additional 4 hours.
A week.
A week. For deed restriction, inspection, and follow-ups that are provided by Resource Property Management.
Okay, are we ready to vote? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Motion was carried. Okay, now we're moving right along to correspondence. The first one is Hachita Drive, Dale Thompson, who is also known as Marie.
Dale Marie Thompson, Hachita Drive. I would like to address the letters that I received. And it kind of goes in with what we're saying right now. What is and what is not a deed restriction. I have letters here that I was going to make copies of and all that. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm going to bring them in. I'm going to give them to you. And I'm going to ask you to explain the letters to me. Because to me, most of them don't make sense. One of them says that it's the second letter, and it's not the second letter because the tire isn't even in the second letter. When I was speaking to John on the phone one day, we were talking about a car cover, which I now have because I was told that the one I had wasn't right, but that's not even mentioned in any of these letters. So I'm just very confused about the way this whole thing is going, and I would like to address the board with a couple of questions if I'm allowed to do that.
Yes, you are. Go ahead. Is there a reason that you want to be right up here?
Well, they handed the papers, I couldn't do it from down there.
Okay.
Okay. This one here. This one here starts out with policies and official complaints and violations, and trying to read my notes is not very good. This one here I will address as one of my first letters. Now, in this picture, you see that they've got the tires They have the tires circled in this picture. First of all, where in any of our deed restrictions, rules, or anything like that, does it say that you cannot make a craft planter out of anything if you want to? If it was a black tire, then I would agree it was a tire. However, I have pictures here. I didn't go and buy one. Where are my pictures? There's a lot here, so trying to keep it organized is not easy. I'm messing up that stuff here. What the heck? Okay, these are do-it-yourself tire planters that are on sale for $30, $80. A little pink tire around a plant that you were trying to protect from a lawnmower started all this to do. Yeah. Thank you, Ed. Look at all these different painted tire planters. These are being sold in Holiday, Florida. They're being sold in Spring Hill. They're being sold on the internet. I'm not paying $80 for a tire that I can take and paint myself, put some dirt in and put some flowers in. However, I'm not a tacky person. I'm not saying that, oh, well, I can't afford a real flower pot. I had that one little tire that I started out with protecting my little bougainvillea from the lawnmower, but everybody had to bitch about it and have a problem with it. This here, okay, just what am I looking at in this picture? Can you tell what I'm supposed to be seeing there? I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea what I'm seeing in that picture. This, I'm assuming, this one here must be the little pool. The little pool matches the trim on my house. I set it there just like if I know people that actually take the insides of hot tubs. I know people that take empty fish ponds. They put them in their yard. They put flowers in them and it looks very nice. Instead of going and buying this black rubber stuff to make this island, this here is the cow that I put in the front yard that was my mother's back in New Jersey, and when she passed away, I got the cow. You hook your garden hose up to the tail of the cow, and it is a sprinkler. I've got a picture of that. The only thing in the picture that I can see that they're complaining about. Am I correct, Ed?
I think the problem with all of your craft ideas for this type of a community are an eyesore. And I think that that's why Linda and other people.
Oh, okay, well, I would bet my life that Linda didn't cite me for those, that somebody filled out green cards. I rode around, made it a mission. People in here, and Karen will tell you, Karen told me to report her. Karen has had a wheelbarrow in her yard for as long as she's lived here. There's another wheelbarrow facing Ponderosa right by my house. There's a pallet in the nice section. The nicer homes where Ellie and Anna Zinc and everybody lives. The woman stuck a pallet up against a tree, painted it, and put plants in it. Part of the reason I'm doing this today is because I want to find out how I can find out. I don't want to go writing other people up. That's doing to other people what people are doing to me. And that's not how I was raised. But I would like to know if these people did get a letter. I can't say, oh, look, she's got a pallet. Why didn't you write her up? You may have. I want to know how I can come to a board meeting, find out how many letters went out the other day, where they went, and if they've been taken care of. You don't have to give the names, give the address, unless there's some legal thing stating that you can't. I myself would like to know who else got letters and how they handled it. I don't want to be singled out alone and not know how to find this out. That's my main thing for today.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, they're all the way down there. Be careful that you don't trip.
You must remember, we're not a gated community. We're not paying $800 and some a month either. We may not be a redneck village, but,
That's right, we're not a redneck village. Okay.
Oh, and by the way, I would like an apology too, once somebody figures out what is right and what's not right here. Because like Ed just pointed out, there's a picture here, there's nothing showing. And there's the picture of my mother's cow.
Aaron, you're up next, Casuarina Drive.
Casuarina Drive, Luciola. Obviously, it's time that you put together a resident committee and start restricting how many items can be in yards. Until that time, you have to stop with the letters that are not breaking the rules, okay? I would like to know, what can we do if I have a black driveway in my neighborhood now. How can I verify that you've sent a letter? Are you gonna report it in the Timber Times? Are you gonna post it at the clubhouse? Where can I find out a list of homes that have been reported?
So, I was gonna answer that question for her. If somebody gets a letter, they're given time to correct it. Once they do not correct it, they go to fining. If that address is going to fining, it will be done at a board meeting. You will know that it's gone to fining. Until then, it's between the board, in quotes, because it's lettered, it's them, the homeowner has the opportunity to correct. Once the owner, if the homeowner comes to the board, that's enough, it comes to the board at a meeting, then you might hear. But otherwise, there's no reason for us as a board to give out that type of information. It's privileged until that person goes to fining. So that if that black driveway has gotten letters, you won't know unless they don't fix it.
Okay,
Once
that
they don't
seems-
fix it, then they
Okay,
get.
it seems a tad redundant in that when it went black, I'm sure a lot of people are very apathetic. I get that because it's everywhere. But in a good community, you could have gotten 20 reports. Why not stop the reports by posting somewhere that this violation has been addressed?
I don't even know if that's legal. I was just gonna say.
Well, if it is legal, I suggest that we do that because when. No, I know you can't have a black driveway, but what I'm wondering is when you have a black driveway, instead of getting 40 neighbors to, complain, why would you just not address it somewhere so everybody could see and not waste their time and the drive around lady's time, which obviously is not being handled properly to begin with. And I would like to say about the drive around, if she did a village at a time and just continued on a path instead of bouncing around, that is not very time efficient. I would say somebody with some sort of expertise in organizational skills and or time management should address the problem. And I know you voted to give her more hours, but if she's not efficient now, she's not going to be efficient with more hours.
Yeah. Thank you, Karen. Dale, are you speaking on?
I'm speaking not on mine, I'm speaking on Karen's, yes.
Okay.
I listened to everything that Sue said, and the thing that upsets me is that we should be rolling in the dough right now. Why? Because some of these violations have been going on for golly only knows. I don't want to mention any names, but we have somebody in here right now that's very, very well known that breaks the rules almost every day of the week. I was told they've gotten letters, but they continue to do wrong. And I'm trying not to be a squealer. I'm trying not to go after individual people. But how can these people be doing these same things wrong, getting letters and never getting fined? You have 14 days to fix the problem. Some people will fix the problem in 14 days and then turn right around and commit the problem again, all over again. And for the amount of time that some of these houses in here have been getting complained about that look like jungles, that have paint peeling off them and everything else, if what you're saying is true and that's the way it's being done, you should be collecting a heck of a lot of money because these people apparently did not fix the problems in 14 days. It's been 14 years and the problem's still going on.
First of all, people who are fined don't always pay the fine. It waits until their house goes up for sale, then we get our money back.
Geez, everybody's leaving, so you want to be rich.
All right, thank you, Dale. Yes, LeMay?
I think we would alleviate a lot of these problems if we are able to post in the clubhouse or somewhere, and I don't know whether it's legal or not, but I think we need to look at that, because if you can see that, yes, they've sent a letter and the process has started, then you don't have to worry that your house was singled out and their house wasn't. It would be nice if we could post it or add it to our newsletter. I don't know whether that's legal. It should be. They're violating rules in a deed restriction area that they signed in for. So maybe we need to look into that.
Okay.
I would say that we would not want to post anything until after the 14-day, because we're not in the business of shaming people.
Correct. I agree.
I mean, it could be on second notice. But I really think we definitely need to find out if it's legal or not.
Right.
If we can do that.
Do I have a volunteer that would like to find that out for us on the board?
How would we find that out? Would we have to talk to the lawyer, John?
I can shoot an email after the meeting.
Okay, thank you, John.
That would be great.
So
I also would like people to realize that we are not fining people to get money. That is the least of our reasons. By the time we send letters and everything, we are not out for money. The only reason to fine or to send someone to the attorney when they're not paying their money is simply, for as far as fines go, is to get them to comply with the rule that they are breaking. We don't do it. It's not okay, we want money. Just like if somebody doesn't pay their dues on time and they wind up going to the attorney, it's not that we're after money. That costs every single one of us money when somebody doesn't pay their dues. So it is not that we're trying to be mean and we're not trying to get money. And just because I've heard this said, I get no money out of this, people. Being treasurer is a pain in the butt. It is not something that you get paid to do. It's, but we're not out after money.
okay, thank you. One, is this about this, or can it wait to the?
I'm just going to quickly say, I don't think you can put things in the newspaper that on people's property, only because there are so many mistakes often made about whose address it is.
Right.
Sometimes.
Well, we're going to look into that, Eileen, thank you. Does anybody on the board want to say any last comments to the audience? Otherwise, we're going to adjourn. Barry does.
I'm sorry, folks, but I was just listening to John, and I was listening to the man back there that spoke, Bob or Rob, I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, Rob. And listening to both, I can say this, John has done a lot since he's been here. He's accomplished a lot of things. And I listened to this man and having the construction experience, it seems to me like maybe a thought would be is to have a committee that looks at projects And John would go to that committee and say, hey, I need the pool repaired, and the committee would do the research and come up with the specs and present that to the board. So that is off of John's shoulders. John's trying to do a lot of stuff, and in the process, maybe he's missing some things. So I was thinking maybe the answer to what the man was saying is to have a committee that looks at the project, comes up with the specs, and then looks at the contractors and presents that to the board.
That's what he's suggesting he's going to present in the fall.
John, Rob is.
Rob.
He's a tech. I was confused about it.
Said he was going to present that idea to the board.
Okay, that's just my thoughts.
Okay, that's good, thank you. Anybody else? Do I have a motion? I want to say one thing myself. Thank you all for coming. I know that this has been a long meeting. During June, July, and August, it's very possible to be a 2-hour meeting because we're not having a secondary meeting. But thank you for your patience, and thank you for being quiet when you need to be quiet. Anybody else?
Yes,
Okay,
we need to fill the secretary position.
we do, but we cannot do that without Donna here too. Now that she's on the board, she either had to be by phone or,
Okay.
okay, so we'll have to table that till, we'll put it on July's agenda and make sure that Donna is here. Sue.
Well, I want to say that I will not be at the July meeting. I will be on the phone in July. I will be back here for the August meeting. And so everyone enjoy your July. I will see you in August, but I will be on the phone in July.
Thank you. Brenda, is there anything you want to say? Okay. Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Motion, adjourned, meeting adjourned. Yeah, we have open forum if there's anything for open forum.